Welcome to ConvHERsations with Kristie, brought to you by Herverse, a community where women who lead, build, and grow come together. This is a space for real, unscripted conversations with bold leaders who are creating impact. No fluff, no filters, just honest insights to help you lead well and live fully. Because at Herverse, we believe leadership isn't meant to be done alone. I am confident you are going to love it. So let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode. I am super excited about this one because I just was on Derek's podcast that he has having a conversation around a topic that we want to continue today. So really, really excited about that. Y'all, please help me welcome Derek to ConvHERsations with Kristie. Derek, would you love to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, it was great to see you, Kristie. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I love being able to show up for your audience and have a great conversation. Like you said, we had one just recently, and there were some real good gems and insights that we can reflect on, and some other ones that we'll share for today. So thank you again for having me. Just to take a minute to introduce myself. So my name's Derek Fredrickson. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called the COO Solution. We offer second-in-command fractional support for companies that are scaling. Chief Operating Officer, integrator, second in command, you name it, that's what we provide. I've been doing COO work for 15 years and then recently launched the COO solution within the last year. And we serve mostly women entrepreneurs, and most of my team are actually women fractional COOs, which is interesting, nothing by intent, but that's the way it's been built. And then on a personal level, I live actually in Paris, France. I've been living here abroad in France for 9 years. That could be a whole other podcast episode as to why I'm here, but the idea was to be here for 1 year, and here we are 9 years later, and really enjoy living here in France and enjoying the culture and being in Europe. And yeah, a little bit about me. So excited to dive in.
Oh, I'm super excited. And yes, one of these days, we're definitely going to have to talk about that, how you ended up in France.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I love, Derek, when I was on your podcast and we were having, this conversation, we really kind of, we started a beautiful conversation around like honoring who you truly are. And I'd love to kind of continue that and actually be able to put you in the hot seat and talk about it this time.
Yeah.
So what does honoring who you truly are, like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think I was reflecting on this because this last year for me, I'll share my story because I often feel like hearing somebody else's story gives us an opportunity to reflect and gain some insights and perspective. But, as I mentioned, I've been doing fractional COO work for 15 years. I started out as the operator, actually in my wife's business coaching business, not knowing anything about business coaching, nothing about entrepreneurship, and stepped in to help kind of grow and scale that company. And I really enjoyed being the second in command, behind the scenes, not in the spotlight, not really getting the front stage, if you will, and enjoyed immensely the operator work that I was doing, and then continued to provide that fractionally for a handful of other clients. And again, really felt that, this is my sweet spot. This is my lane. This is my zone of genius. I'm wired for this. I have my strengths are in this area of basically running other people's companies so that they can achieve their goals and have great success. And then I also realized that I was yearning for something more. And I think the yearning for something more wasn't about trying to be the visionary or trying to be in the spotlight, but it was more like, how can I do what I'm doing on a bigger scale, knowing that I can't do it all on my own? And so my journey was kind of in this transition from being the operator of other people's businesses and kind of taking that hat off and then stepping into a CEO role where I launched my own company, and I've been building my team and basically doing for myself and my own company what I was doing for other clients that I had been working with. And this journey of transformation has allowed me to reflect that, everybody's on their own path, and wherever that path may lead you to, two things I'd like to say. Number one, it doesn't always have to be at an ending point. There could always be another level, another step, and they may not be clear, or it may be clear. And if you're approaching that and reflecting what the next step might be, it's okay to be a bit scared. It's okay to be a bit uncertain about what that is, but play with it. Like, kind of explore what that could look like, because that's exciting. You're kind of stepping into a bigger future version of yourself that you may not be aware of. However, also, if you're like me, where for a long time, for 15 years, I was doing fractional COO and operator work, and that was my jam. That was my thing. Like I didn't, for a long time, didn't see doing anything else. That was just what I thought I would be doing forever, because that was just my zone of genius. And, I was sharing earlier that, for some, I think as operators, we feel like, maybe we're a little bit less than, because there's a lot of visibility and attention on the entrepreneur, on the front stage, on the risk taker, the one that's going out there and creating things. But what they're creating doesn't happen unless you have a really good operator behind the scenes making the magic happen. And I love this analogy of being, for you operators that are watching, like, or in your audience, Kristie, like if you're an operator or a second in command or, a fractional executive, you're kind of like the wizard in The Wizard of Oz. You make the magic happen, but maybe behind the scenes. And that's totally cool, because maybe we don't want the spotlight. Maybe we don't want the front stage, but we love pulling all the levers and making all the things happen to have the show go on and have the magic happen and the dreams come a reality, in that kind of a way. So I think my lesson here, my insight is that if you're on this journey and you're an operator, great. You're needed and you're amazing. If you feel like there's an inkling to step into something else, that's great. Explore that and see what that may, be about, because nothing's ever linear. Like there's always another level that we want to explore and kind of unpeel the onion layer to see what's there. So it's just something I've been kind of considering as I've been on my own journey in this last 12, 18 months.
Yeah. And I understand where you're coming from too, because it's a very similar journey to me too, right? Where, I mean, I was, sitting in an integrator, right-hand leader type of role for a couple of decades and loved it. I found so much fulfillment and joy and satisfaction out of it. But then, things started to change. And as ConverHERsations started to grow, I realized, wow, I really have a knack for this other thing too. And it kind of fell into my lap, right? It wasn't one of those things I sought out. But it's an amazing journey to be on. And I want to reiterate what you're saying though, is if you are sitting in that COO, that integrator, listen, insert plethora of titles, because we love to use all of them in this role. If you're sitting in that and you're thinking I'm less than, or haven't met my pinnacle of success, but yet it's the role where you're like, I love doing this. I find joy out of this. I find energy out of this. I get fulfillment out of this. Like, I know this is my purpose in life. Then, my friend, I hope you heard what Derek said. And I want to just say it again. That's fantastic. And that does mean you have met your pinnacle of success. Keep growing and getting absolutely amazing at being that second in command, that right-hand leader. Again, whatever title you may use in that role.
It is so needed. I've learned this, and I'll tell a story that I think can really capture this for your audience. And it's so needed, because for every 10 entrepreneurs, there's one second in command or an operator that makes it happen. So we are very needed. We are the unicorn. We are that like magic dust that makes it happen. And I'll share this story because it really was a pivotal moment for me where I understood what I just shared to its core. I was in a mastermind. This is back when we lived in the US. This is 15 years ago. I was in a mastermind with some pretty well-known entrepreneurs and thought leaders in the, I would say, internet marketing, business coaching space. And we were out to dinner after the mastermind and kind of sitting around the table. And they were sharing ideas and talking about, we could do this and we could do that. And that's what visionaries do. They ideate. They should be ideating all of the time with an operator that can catch the ideas and make them happen. And I was sitting there kind of feeling a bit like fraud. Like I'm not at that. I don't think like that. I'm a think, then I talk, as opposed to I talk and then I think about it, right? Like as somebody who's a high risk taker, like they're going to make the decision and throw out the idea, and then they'll kind of figure out how to do it. Sometimes we need to figure out how we're going to do it, and then we'll make the decision on taking that action. And I was sitting there and feeling like, I don't know if this is my jam. Like I'm not really feeling like I belong in this discussion of coming up with all these crazy ideas and everything else. And I remember sharing it to the person that was running the mastermind kind of privately. And he said, I want to say something. And we were finishing up the dinner. And he said, you know what's great about having Derek at this conversation is that if there wasn't a person like a Derek at this conversation, all of the rest of us would pick up, we would leave this dinner conversation and nothing would get done. all of the ideas would be left there on the table. But for people like a Derek and people like in your community, Kristie, we are the makers of those decisions. We are the ones that make that happen. I always say the job of the visionary is to make it up. You have a team and a process to make it recur. Our role is that we make it real. We make it happen and just really crave that ability to initiate and make things reality from something that's just an idea. And also getting on what I love about your community is a community of people that kind of band together to support that. So I thought I'd just share that story because it just, I think, crystallizes that type of, situation.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that story because you're so right. And that's why I just have a strong, I want people to hear this message that if you're hearing from the external world that you're not good enough or you haven't met pinnacle of success because you're not the business owner or you're not the CEO or you're not insert plethora of titles, again, that's their definition of success.
Yeah. We're live, Kristie. You said we're live. You can't make this up.
You can't make this up. I'm going to have a rowdy coworker for a second. I think we have a delivery happening. I love it.
Perfect timing. I love it. This is great.
I love it. It's so funny. But there is this narrative that you have to be the CEO, you have to be the business owner, you have to be, this type of role to have met the pinnacle of success.
Right.
And my point is, if that's not the right role for you, if that's not how your brain works to sit and ideate and come up with the ideas and want to do that, if your brain works in a way that is like, I want to make that happen for someone, then my friend, that is your pinnacle of success. And you are absolutely as valuable and needed as that other person is.
Yeah.
Now, again, if you're wanting to, take the next step to become that other lead, fantastic, go for it. Even in the scary moments, go for it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
Yes, exactly. It could be an option. It doesn't need to be there for everybody. For me, I probably dragged my feet for years knowing, and people were reaching out and saying like, Derek, I'd love to work with you, but I know that your plate is full. Do you have many Dereks? Do you have other people that do like, I need a Derek in my business and there's only one of me to go around. And now I've built this, my own community of fractional CEOs that are amazing at what they do. And they do it in their own way. It's not my way because in some cases they've been doing it in different industries or different capacities. So everybody has their own unique, I would say, zone of genius or strengths that they bring, which is the thing that only they can do in their unique way, which is what adds the most value. So if that's something that you're willing to keep exploring and diving into and figuring out for yourself, whether it's with assessments or journaling or meditating or whatever it is, or coaching and mentorship in a community to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you all think? And they can champion you and rise you to supporting you through that next phase. That's immense. We all need that.
I'm really curious, how did you really determine and what was your process to realize, wow, I'm an operator, but I have this idea and I really want to bring it to fruition? How did that kind of happen for you?
There's a couple of things. To be really honest, I think on a practical level, I was at a point where, I'm based here in France and my market is almost exclusively US based. And I had clients on the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, right? And so my 6 p.m. was a 9 a.m. for my client in San Francisco. And I remember looking at my this is very, very practical, very real, very transparent, looking at my computer screen. I had, 6 different Slack accounts, 6 different Chrome browsers with 6 different project management tools and 6 different calendars. And I was just like zigzagging back and forth. I was a huge and still big believer in asynchronous communication, right? So using tools like Asana, Slack, Loom, etc. But at the same time, I knew I can't sustain that, right? And I was still like, if people wanted to work with me, I would charge more and they would still say yes. I would charge more and they would still say yes. And so great problem to have, but I'm just adding more on it to a very kind of overwhelmed, busy schedule. And I really wasn't honoring the work-life balance that I really was craving. And I think especially being here in France, it was a challenge. It was a real challenge to kind of tag team all of that. And so I think the other kind of motivator was that I knew that there were more companies out there that needed what I had, and I didn't need to be the sole solution provider. There are people that we all well and know that are in your community that are out there that are the dime a dozen. They're the 1 to the 10, one operator to 10 entrepreneurs. And I felt like if I can develop a method, right? I'm a process-oriented person, or a framework or a structure or a system about how I do what I do, and partner with other fractional COOs to do that together. That's how I could scale. That's how I could have, 50 clients instead of 5 clients, and being able to meld that together. And so I kind of just took my blueprint of what I did with other companies and then put it into my business, right? I've been doing this for 15 years. I know what I'm doing. I know that it works because I've had success. And so I really have then just been more focused on building the culture of the COO solution and how we do what we do, the team, right? We're cultivating a great team of fractional COOs, and obviously finding companies that need what we have to offer, the right solution, right? We're not working with everybody. So it's a combination of a lot of those factors. But again, I don't really know what is in store for the future. I have ideas. I've got, a vision of what it could be. But right now I'm still in that kind of building it out and scaling it and building the model. So it's very, very exciting for sure.
I love that. I love that. It's kind of, you and I talked about this a little bit, that messy middle of what do I want to do? How do I do it? All of the things. And I know you have a really big message around the messy middle, and I'd love for you to share that too.
Yeah. I think it was just for a long time. I mean, the last 12 months have been in the messy middle, and I'm still in it because what I know, because we use assessments and I know how I'm wired and my strengths and everything else, I am a finisher. Right? Give me something that's been started and I will finish it. You can start the 10%, I'll take it to 90%. Most business owners, entrepreneurs, visionaries are not like that. They are the 10% and then they need the finishers to get it to 100.
Yes.
And that messy middle for me is, and I have my own fractional COO that helps runs my business. And she, catches me quite often, be like, Derek, that's not really what that's not what the CEO is supposed to be doing. I still default to my operator. I still default to in the doing, because that's the natural instinct for me. And so I need support. I need coaching to kind of, when I'm in that messy middle, I could go and execute on those projects and develop those plans and run all those team meetings, but it doesn't mean that I should be. Right. And this is something that we share with a lot of our clients. Just because you could be doing something doesn't mean you should be doing something. You could be doing everything in your business, but you shouldn't be. Right. You could be doing all of the marketing on your own, but you shouldn't be. You should be doing the marketing that really lights you up. Right. As an example. So the messy middle is really just an awareness of where you're feeling. It's a feeling thing here. It's not a logic thing that you can, kind of rationalize up here. And I'm a rational type guy, so I live here. So sometimes I have to really honor that what I'm feeling here is not in alignment. I'm in this messy middle. Okay, It's because I'm just showing up to be the operator. It's because maybe I'm not following the process. Maybe I'm not being systematic enough of what I should be doing. So I feel the need to step in and kind of implement and execute, where I really need to step back and honor that that's not in my business the thing that's going to exponentially grow it. And everybody experiences messy middles. Just be aware of it and be like, okay, I'm working through it. It's totally fine. Or maybe there's some decisions I can make to get out of the messy middle and feel more in alignment of where I want to be going and who I really am.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you, part of my messy middle too was transitioning from integrator for 20 years and now sitting in a visionary CEO owner seat. Part of that messy middle for me was just habit. Yeah. I was I am used to waking up, having my integrator brain that is ready to do certain things. And so I had to break that habit of the last 15 to 20 years. And now I've got a new set of responsibilities. I've got a new set of things that need my attention. And oh, by the way, my messy middle brain is like, but what about all these other things? And but I have to trust my integrator that's in place and making sure, I'm following up with her and making sure she has the support that she needs to do her job so that I can do mine.
Of course. Yeah. And we're not there to I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's hard to break that, right?
Yeah, it's hard to break that. And I don't want to step in and kind of dictate how we should be running our business, because that's not my role. That's the role of the integrator. It was interesting. I was at this mastermind last week with other CEOs and visionaries and entrepreneurs. And again, I had a little bit of that identity complex. Like I'm not like them in some ways, but I'm okay with that. Like I acknowledge the messy middle and I'm okay with it. one of the things that I shared, I was getting some really raw feedback from the group, which is why you're in a mastermind, to get that type of feedback and support and coaching and pushing you in the way that maybe you wouldn't push yourself on your own. One of the observations that another member shared, and it was a little hard to hear. It kind of hit right here. He said, Derek, you haven't really fully embraced your CEO role yet. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, can you share more about that? And he's like, because what you're describing and what you're looking for support on are operational things. Like, if you're a CEO and you're really looking at your vision and where you want to be, and one of the questions they asked, you said, what's your 10-3 1-year plan? And I said, I don't have a 10-3 1-year plan. I have a 90-day plan because that's how I kind of run my business. And I have an idea, but it's just an idea. And he's like, no. One of your homework assignments to really embrace the role of a CEO is to flesh out your 10-3 1-year plan. And I mean, like, crystal clear to, like, how many clients, how much revenue, profit, all of that. Like, how do you know what to do now if you don't know where you want to be in 1, 3, or 10 years? And the further you stretch that out and then reverse engineer, one, it gives you tremendous confidence and clarity and excitement, but then it gives you the kind of motivation to do those things because you know where you're going. He said, what is your North Star? Figure out your North Star and then work backwards. And so I think that's relevant for whether you're a visionary or an entrepreneur, or you're an operator working with your clients and asking them, what is their North Star? How can I help them clarify what that is, and then be able to bring the magic to make that happen? So I thought that was pretty insightful as well. Yeah.
I love that. Because we talk about that a lot, inside of our community as, right-hand leaders, as that integrator COO, we are doing that for the business. Right. We very naturally, we put, our business plans together and VTOs and, all of the things. But Derek, I will tell you one thing that we've been doing as a community for the last couple of years is also putting those plans together for our personal lives too.
Yes. Yeah. Huge.
It's a game changer. And I think when we first started this process of entering what we call personal vision planning, we recognized, wow, like the integrators are like, we are really great at doing that for others, but we have not done it for ourselves yet.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's a huge thing that we do. It's so fun and exciting. And I'm really, I'm looking forward to doing that again this year. It's just one of those amazing things that we get to do, because when you do start to think about yourself and, how do you want to elevate and grow? What do you want 10 years of the future to look like for you? Suddenly messy middle starts to become more clear, and hey, I'm going to continue down this path. And I want to continue elevating and growing as a second in command leader, that right-hand leader to my visionary. Yes, that's the path I'm on. That's the path I want to be on. Or maybe you are starting to have those thoughts of, wow, I'd like to do my own business and I want to do my own thing. But that 10-year plan is so important to knowing where you're going, where you called it your North Star. We call it our true north.
Oh, there you go. Right. And you can't neglect what are the personal values, the personal goals that you have to achieve, depending on what that looks like for you. Right. So, whether it's moving to France, or whether it's moving to a cabin in the mountains, or renting a seaside shack in Mexico, or none of those, or just opening up a yoga studio, whatever that is, you can't neglect that. Especially, I'll say this, I think especially for those that are operators running businesses, we are the yes people. We are the ones, and we talked about this when you and I spoke, we would never say to a visionary, no, we can't do that. No, we can't make that happen. No, I don't know how to do that. No, we can't figure that out. It doesn't exist. We are the yes people. Yes, we can figure that out. Yes, we can make that happen. Yes, we can find a solution, because like we shared, we never want to throttle the ideation from the visionary. That's how they get energy and excitement and enthusiasm. And you need that in a company. But the trap of being the yes is that we are in operating mode all of the time. We own a lot of the responsibility of things getting done, things getting completed. The team depends on us. That can take its toll, not just when you're working with one client, but imagine if you're doing that with 5 different clients. So compartmentalize, divide and conquer, time block, all of these things that we hear, but we don't really live. You really need to put in place, especially as an operator, because otherwise you're operating all of the time. And I'll say this, if you're like other operators and other people like me, that can cascade into the personal life. What am I doing for the kids? What am I organizing for the social life? What am I doing for travel? Make sure the trip is planned. Next thing you know, like I'm like operating central, and I haven't taken any time to just breathe and relax and take a walk or listen to music or do yoga or meditate or whatever it is that gets you back into the zone to feel really grounded. because in that second in command spot, we are on all of the time. So having a community that can reflect that back and kind of tone it down sometimes when it needs to is super, super important.
Oh, I could not agree more. It's so important to remember. It reminds me, Derek, of the old saying that we're all used to, right? You have to put your mask on first in order to be able to serve others.
Yeah.
We've got to be able to take care of ourselves too.
Yeah.
You know, that deep breath, whether it's a clarity break or, you know, whatever it may be, but taking that moment for yourself. And I will tell you, very interesting, some people responded to the idea of doing like a personal vision planning saying, that's selfish of me. First of all, I don't see it as selfish, but second of all, you can be selfish for just a moment.
Yeah.
And honor yourself and think about your own future and what you want. Because honestly, when you were thinking ahead like that, what do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? You're actually contributing more to the organization that you're part of.
For sure.
Because if your heart is half in, half out, then you're all out. Like,
yeah.
not contributing in the way that you need to. So knowing what you want to do personally, you want to continue growing, developing, or you want to think about, you know, something different, that's actually extremely helpful for the business.
I heard this recently. It's a little bit of a mindset shift that goes exactly to that. They were talking about this in the context of taking time off or taking time away from the business, which is similar to what you're describing. And what they shared, and it really resonated because again, I could go at it all the time, right? And they said taking time off or taking time away, it is a requirement, not a reward. And the paradigm is most people see it as a reward. I'm going to get all this, you know, done on my to-do list, and I'm going to get all these projects knocked off, and I'll get all these goals completed. Then as a reward, I'll take the time away to relax or rejuvenate. No. Switch it, which is a total mindset shift. And it's, again, a lot easier said than done. And the things that are, you know, the most profound are usually simple in concept, but really difficult to put into practice. See that as a requirement, not as a reward, because the requirement is that in order for you to be your best self on a personal level, on a professional level, with your clients, with your community, with your peers, you need to be able to honor that and selfishly claim that, as opposed to, I'll get to it later when I have time, and usually later equals never. And so we're constantly pushing that down, and then that's going to backfire at some point. Burnout, complacency, mistakes, you know, you name it. So I thought the paradigm shift of taking time off, taking time away, requirement, not reward, is really huge.
Oh, I love that. And what a great reminder, because I do think a lot of times in the higher up the ladder you go, the more it is a reward.
Yeah.
Right. And exactly. So that's a beautiful reminder that taking time off and taking care of yourself is not a reward. It's a requirement. We need to do that.
For sure. And figure out what that is for you. Again, it could be totally different, right? Whatever it is that fuels you back up, gives you energy, gives you motivation, gives you ideas, but also sometimes like go take a nap. Don't check your email on nights and weekends or whatever that might be, just something to give yourself a break.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in, a lot of people have this mindset that I need to I've got a lot of things to do. I need to sit at this desk and I need to get all of the things done. And I'm not getting up until I've completed all the tasks, right? All the check marks are off for the day. But the reality of that is you are actually less productive than if you just take a 10-minute break every 90 minutes to every 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that it seems so contradictory. Like, how can I take a 10-minute walk or, go do something for 10 minutes and be more productive?
Yeah, exactly.
Reality. It's really true. And again, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but you get up and go stretch for 10 minutes or go listen to music for 10 minutes, or go for a walk or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it's such a game changer.
So necessary. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. A requirement. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
I definitely, it's a required act of taking time off and taking care of myself. I'm going to have that mind shift change.
Good. There we go. Excellent.
I love it. Friend, I knew this was going to be a fun conversation. Like, I have no doubt about it, but this was even more than I had expected. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your insights and your wisdom. If people wanted to reach out to you and know more about you or your company, how do they connect with you?
Sure. Our website is thecoosolution.com. And then you can also look me up on LinkedIn, Derek Fredrickson. And yeah, happy to connect.
Absolutely. Well, friend, you know how I love to end my conversations
Yes.
with honor, empower, and inspire. And if this is your first time watching or listening into the podcast, the honor for me is really truly thinking about a woman of a past generation, someone that had made a significant impact on your life, or maybe just a historical figure that you really truly admire and look up to. So, Derek, I would love to know, who is the person you would love to honor?
So this was interesting for me. I'm gonna share. I'm not gonna give a name, if that's okay. I'm going to give the symbol of what it represents, and it's something that happened just recently, and some of you might have experienced this as well. So I live in France. I live in Paris, and so as some of you know, last summer Paris hosted the Summer Olympics. And if you watch the opening ceremony, there were two things that stood out. One, it poured rain the entire evening, which really made it a complete bummer, but Parisians and the French and everybody prevailed. It was an amazing, performance and show and everything else. And it was also done on the Seine River. The Seine River is the river that cuts through the city of Paris. And it really is this iconic international symbol, not just for Paris and for France, but really for the world. And they did the opening ceremony on the river. So it was something that had never been done before. There was one moment in the opening ceremony where, if you know anything about France, there's a little bit of a French culture lesson. Their motto is what's known as égalité, liberté, fraternité, which means equality, liberty, freedom, and fraternity, which is kind of like brotherhood, right? The French did something very different. There was a moment during the opening ceremony where they had statues rise from the water in the Seine River of women, famous French women that were business leaders, politicians, authors, thought leaders, that they were honoring to kind of put the French motto of the fraternity a little bit upside down for the women as like sorority, right? Fraternity, sorority. And it was really this kind of moment of symbolizing and honoring the women who had made significant accomplishments or discoveries, or like paved the way of what France is very much today, which is a very, I would say, kind of a female centric, like a very women, female empowered country. And it was a way to honor that. So I don't have a specific name in this moment. I just remember the statues coming up and they would say, this woman founded this woman created this woman wrote this book that paved the way for future women. I thought that was incredible. So that's who I honor, is just that story and that experience that I was watching.
I love that. What a unique way to honor.
Yeah.
That's really, really neat. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it too, because
for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who all they mentioned.
Yeah, it may have been something that they only showed in the French version of the opening ceremony, because I know the US version, they cut some things out for whatever reason, but maybe time, restriction. But yeah, you can see it on YouTube or something, I'm sure.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
What about empower? Empower is really truly thinking of a woman in today's generation, a woman who is in business or in leadership today that either you hope to empower or that empowers you to be your absolute most.
Sure. This is so easy. This is a slam dunk. And I say this because I've been working with her on and off for now 17 years, and it is my wife. My wife, Fabienne Fredrickson, she is, when I started out doing operator work, it was in her business coaching business. We've been working together for 17 years. I know a lot of people are like, I could never work with my partner, my husband, my wife. We did. We made it happen. It was not all peaches and roses. We had to figure a lot of things out in the beginning in terms of visionary, integrator, front stage, backstage. But I wouldn't be here today doing what I am doing if it wasn't because of Fabienne. I mean, she empowered me, she championed me, she supported me, she encouraged me in all of the things that I had been doing, and really, kind of lovingly put me out to step into a future bigger version of myself that perhaps I wasn't able to see. So I that's why I said it's a slam dunk, because without her, I wouldn't be who I am, and I definitely wouldn't be where I am today.
Oh, I love that. What a beautiful way to recognize her.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then last but not least is inspire. Who is a woman of a future generation that you hope to inspire?
That's easy as well. That would be my daughter, Claire. So Claire is 22, graduated from university last year, living in London. She actually does marketing for my company and for and my wife's company, as well as some of the clients of my company as well. She does social media and copywriting and video editing and everything else. She's brilliant. And I think just, I've had these opportunities to share conversations with her, kind of like what we're talking about today, being in the messy middle. Is this something that you want to be doing for the rest of your life? If not, that's okay. If so, that's fine too. Maybe just for now. You don't have to have it all figured out. Sometimes we don't even have it all figured out, and she's only 22. In terms of how do we model that and inspire somebody to take risks, to really step into who they feel they really are, getting support from others and seeking advice from those that have been on that journey. I really enjoy being that like kind of father figure role model to my daughter as she's embarking on her professional and personal journey. So it's definitely my daughter, Claire.
Oh, I love that. I love that you honored both your wife and your daughter. That's absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you for that.
Again, I knew this was going to be a fun conversation. I knew we were going to have a great time, but I just, again, want to thank you for coming, sharing your wisdom. And hopefully there was definitely some really great nuggets of wisdom that was shared. And I hope you as well enjoyed it. Y'all, let's give a great big hand to Derek, and I will have the pleasure of getting to see you again next week. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of ConverHERsations with Kristie. I hope you're walking away with a few nuggets of inspiration, maybe a new perspective, or just a reminder that you're not alone in your leadership journey. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, drop us a comment, or tag us with your favorite takeaway. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep leading with heart, and keep building the kind of life and leadership that feels true to you. I'll see you in the next ConverHERsation.